In this city of light, in this city of millions, there are countless stories. This is ours, and this is how much that story cost. We just came back from an extended slow travel stay in Paris, France. It's the dream trip of a lifetime, and we chronicled most everything we saw and did in the previous videos in this destination series. However, there's no getting around it. A trip to Paris cost a pretty penny. Exactly how much, you ask? Well, we are going to tell you. We are going to be completely transparent, and some of these costs will surprise you. Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. So we just came back from one of our bucket list destination trips. We just came back from Paris.
Paris!
Oh my God, like what can you say about Paris? It is everything you've ever heard Paris to be. It is not overrated.
It's
Would
not
you agree?
overrated. I loved it. I loved everything about it. You know, it was amazing to get off the tourist track and just kind of live like a Parisian for a little over 6 weeks. And after that, I'm more convinced than ever, it really isn't overrated at all.
No, you know, we've been to Paris before. Each of us has had a couple of trips there where we would spend a couple of nights there. But this was the first time that we've gone post retirement and during a trip where it's extended stay, where we really get to experience the city like a
totally
local.
Different. Yeah,
And
it was amazing. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we actually kind of moved to Paris for a little over 6 weeks. And after about 2 weeks, I felt like we lived there. I really did.
Yeah.
It was cool.
Yeah. Okay, so what we're going to do is break down the cost like we normally do so you can get a sense of how much a trip to Paris would be in case you want to schedule your own trip in the future. So let's get down to the cost. So the number of days were 44 days. So
a little more than 6 weeks.
A little more than 6 weeks.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty long stay. If you really want to get a sense for a location and like Paris, I think after the first 3 to 4 weeks, we really felt like, okay, the
we
newness,
knew the city.
We knew it. We walked around quite a bit. It really felt like we were home, like we were there.
And we were able to explore not just the basic stuff or even the next level, but into the next and next, which I thought was great.
Yeah, deep travel. That's what
deep.
It's all about. Okay, so the total for those 44 days was $9,948.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
It's expensive. Yeah.
We went into it knowing that this was going to be a more expensive trip. If you've seen our cost breakdowns for our trips, our earlier trips after retirement, they were nowhere near this. But we understood that there are going to be probably like 2 buckets of trips. There's going to be the majority of them that are going to be a kind of a reasonably priced, moderately priced trip. And then there are going to be trips to world-class cities where they're going to be approaching the 10,000 range. And that's what we experienced here with Paris. Yeah. So the cost per day averaged to $226. If you've seen our past videos, you know it was usually around $150 to $170, something like that. So this was much more, $226 average. So the airfare, we don't count the airfare usually because we ended up doing multiple trips with that. But the total that for the airfare we paid this time was $2,857.
Which was also expensive. Yeah, we spent a little more this time. We flew Premium Plus, I think, and we wanted to get our tickets secured. It was post kind of COVID and all of the things were booking up, and I really wanted to make sure that we were comfortable, that we got when we want, so we spent a little more on airfare.
Yeah,
for sure.
As a reminder, when we were first filming this video, we were wanting to bring in like a lot of tips for how you would budget Paris because we learned a lot of things, some of which the hard way. And we want to be able to pass that on to you. But we realized this would be such an incredibly long video, and we try to avoid that. So we're going to try to do another video where we break down some of our best tips for how to budget with Paris.
Yeah. And so I think we did learn a lot, and you can get some benefit from that. But that'll be our next video.
Okay, so the accommodation, because it was such a long stay, we ended up doing an Airbnb, and that was $5,700.
Expensive. It was about $1,000 a week, but We know why. Again, Paris to begin with, but also we were really clear about what we wanted. We wanted a separate bedroom. We wanted air conditioning. We wanted a lift, an elevator, which is really difficult to find, especially elevator and lift, a washer and dryer, a separate bedroom, and all this other stuff in the right area. We were in the 10th, right by the metro where we wanted to be. So yeah, we spent a lot of money on the Airbnb. Now for what we got, we were at the low end of what we got. We could have, for those requirements, spent a heck of a lot more money. But if you relax some of those requirements, like a lift, a washer and dryer, air conditioning, that kind of things, which we didn't want to do, you could clearly spend a lot less. So there's options out there for sure.
There are options. But for 6 weeks for us, we really wanted to try to meet these requirements. But it's not a requirement for everyone.
And if you compare that to hotels, it's significantly cheaper. Gosh, you know, so it was not cheap, but I think it was well worth it.
All right. Experiences, total of $787.
Stacey Kent.
Yeah.
We love Stacey Kent, and she's an artist that we follow. She comes to DC all the time, and she actually spends a lot of time in France. She's like a winner. She's a jazz singer, and she was actually playing in Paris while we were there. We heard about that, and we bought the tickets. So I think at least half that budget was the Stacey Kent tickets.
Stacey Kent. We also did it was a comedy show at the theater, which cost a bit, and then the museums. We did a lot of free museums, but they were also, the Louvre, the Orsay, and several other bigger museums that did cost some money, and we did a few tours as well. So that added up. So $787, but worth it, every cent. The experiences we had.
And even though we spent that, which is a little high for us, we did a lot of free stuff, and you can do a lot of free stuff, of course, in Paris as well. Just being there is a lot of the story.
Yeah. Look to some of the past videos where we gave some tips on some of the free things that you can do with Paris, and of course we'll include that in the travel guide as well. Dining. Okay, so it's Paris, so it's about the food and the cafes and the restaurants as well. So
dining. For us, the wine.
And for us, the wine. Yeah. So $2,325 for dining.
I think that's okay. I mean, we were there 6 weeks. You're in Paris. Now, we ate a lot of street food. Like, we did not go out to these ridiculously fancy places, but we did a good mix. We found some ethnic food we loved, street food, like I said, that we loved. But we also love the cafes, and every time you sit down in a cafe outside, you've got to have
wine?
A bottle of wine, yeah. So wine is ridiculously reasonable there, but even at the great prices, if you get a bottle, every time you go to lunch, it adds up. So we spent a little money there, and well worth it again.
Oh, well worth it.
Yeah, it was worth it.
To be able to have a bottle of wine, some good food at a corner of a cafe, and people watch all the Parisians walk by and the tourists. Incredible experience. But we didn't eat out for every meal. Like we said, for breakfast, we got some groceries, and so that added up to $575.
Yeah, groceries, coffee, baguettes, cheese, wine, but it also includes stuff like clothes detergent and washing machine. I'm sorry, dishwasher detergent and that kind of stuff that we had to get, trash bags, that kind of stuff.
Okay, so not bad.
Not bad.
Transportation, $493. What was that about?
Ubers, Ubers in DC are expensive, so back and forth to the airport. But we went to Lyon for a weekend, so we had fast train tickets. We took a fast train from Paris to Lyon and back to see some friends of ours, which I think is in a video coming up. And we spent some money there, and then a few Ubers and a Paris Metro. We used that, which was not expensive and really easy to navigate. We highly recommend that.
Yeah, absolutely. So don't be intimidated by the Metro.
Not at all.
It ended up being so easy.
It was easy. Oh, much easier than New York, and very clean and fast and efficient and very easy.
Yeah. And for personal, that's one category where we save some money. We're not shoppers,
we weren't
really.
Personal.
At least not this time we were. So there were no souvenirs, there was no major shopping, there were, everything else we kind of brought with us, so nothing there. So what do you think?
An investment well worth it.
That's a good way to describe it.
That's the way I would say it. You can't compare Paris to Mexico or some of the cheaper things, but wow, we did Paris for over 6
Paris,
weeks,
man.
and clearly there's some stuff we could trim on the edges, but I wouldn't regret it a bit.
Yeah, I wouldn't change a
Loved
thing.
Loved it. Yeah.
All right. We hope this was helpful for you to see the cost breakdown for an extended trip to Paris. If you end up going to Paris, please let us know. We would love to hear your experiences. It's an incredible city. So thanks for joining us.
See you soon. Bye.
Watch this video to see what's next on our adventures and check out our customizable merchandise store. See you soon.